So, if you've just joined us, welcome. We're a little bit early, so we'll just wait a few minutes for everyone to join us. Hi. If you've just joined us, welcome. Hello, I'm Snehal. We're a little bit early, so we're just going to wait a few minutes for a few more people to join us. In the meantime, I hope you've got your coffees or teas or whatever you need in the morning, cardo, milk, not alcohol. And most importantly, I hope you've got a pad of paper and a pen, because this is what we'll be using to write the tools of our trade, our weapons. So yeah, if you don't have those things, go get them. We've got a few minutes still. So I'm just double checking that everything's in order. If you've just joined us, hello, welcome. We're very early, so that's great, but make sure you've got your teas and coffees, and we will get started just after 10 o'clock, so you've got a bit of time. Also, make sure you've got your notepads and paper, because that's very important too. Just gonna adjust this. I am just adjusting my camera, so sorry, it's going to shake a bit. It's not better. Okay, I think that's a bit better. Great. So I think I can see a few more people joining. So hello, I'm Snehal, and we're Tattva. We're a writers network. We are quite new, we're quite young, but I think some of the stuff we produce, I hope, will last a really long time. And a lot of that is down to you guys engaging with us, working with us. So it's great that you're here. We've got a bit of time before we get started, 5 minutes or so. So make sure you've got your teas and coffees, and definitely your pens and paper. This is a really chilled session, so we're just gonna. If you're in bed, that's fine. I wish I was in bed too. But yeah, grab family and friends, sit on the sofa, hot drinks. You can even have breakfast. The only thing you need is a pen and paper. So I'll just let you get that and we'll wait a few more minutes. I can see one person's commented to say good morning. She sounds very excited. That's my sister. So if you're here and you're watching, please comment so we can see who you are. You don't have to, but it would be nice. Hello, Rajiv is here. So a bit more about Tattva. We hold a lot of writing workshops, and during lockdown, we've been holding a lot of creative writing workshops. So those are every Sunday, 10 o'clock. They're fantastic. Again, you can do them in your bed. Hi, Rena. Rajiv did one last Sunday, and he started off by selling something like bullet coffee. I don't know what that is, but I think he's probably getting sponsored or something because he talked about it for a very long time. So I'm not going to do that, mostly because my coffee is boring, instant coffee. But the mug is very cool. It's just very happy. And so I like this mug. It's my mom's favorite too. I live at home, but she let me take it to uni, so it always cheered me up in the mornings. So that's my interesting coffee story. We'll just wait a few more minutes to get some more people. Rajiv says it's bulletproof coffee. Okay, yeah. So if you're interested in that kind of coffee or you're interested in creative writing, after this session, you should definitely check out those videos. So I think we've got about 4 creative writing workshops, and they're still on our Facebook page. So every Sunday, 10 a.m. we did those. We'll definitely have one tomorrow as well. So you can get up, get your teas and coffees, get back into bed, get out your pen and paper, and just have a really nice, chilled, happy writing session. Obviously, this morning, it being a Saturday, is going to be a little bit more engaging, but still, we're going to keep it really easy and slow. Just relax, see what you can get out of it. Don't know necessarily. You might not feel like you want to write a masterpiece or a book. I definitely don't, but I think just in little ways this will help us communicate a bit better, which is a pretty good thing for us to achieve. So just a couple more minutes. If you're just joining us, grab your teas and coffees, and most importantly, a notepad and paper, and then we will get started. Hello, welcome. I'm Snehal and we're Tattva. So we're about to get started. So grab your hot drinks, your notepad and paper, and we've got a couple of minutes, and then I'll tell you a bit about Tattva, and then we can get started. Hello, I can see we've got a lot of people joining us, so we'll start in just a few minutes. So grab your teas, coffees, breakfasts, whatever, get cozy and comfortable because this is going to be a really relaxed session. Grab your notepad and paper. If you're on Facebook, that's great. And if you want to comment and participate, we'll have a discussion going on in the comments, but that's not essential. So if you just want to listen and take part and keep quiet, that's perfectly fine too. I'm really excited, so we'll just give it a few more minutes so everyone can get cozy and ready, and then we'll start. I think in the meantime, I'll tell you a bit more about Tattva. So we are a writers network. We do all sorts of writing. A lot of us have other jobs as well. I'm a journalist, so most of my day is writing. Um, but a lot of other people, we've got doctors, dentists, research scientists, academics, so all sorts. We do lots of different types of writing, so a lot of creative writing, non-fiction, fiction, poetry. So a lot of that interests different types of people, and we hold workshops. So especially during lockdown, we've done a lot of live workshops and guided writing sessions, just like this. So there are creative writing sessions every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. So definitely check that out. They're just down in the on the Facebook page. Those videos are still there. And definitely tomorrow morning, wake up in time as well so that you can join at 10 o'clock. I first joined Tattva last year, 2019. And I struggled with it to begin with, even though I write for most of my day. And what I found was that there's just an incredible set of mentors and teachers who hold your hand and guide you through the different projects. And so that's whether you're doing the authorship program, which is what I did, or you're just joining, you just want to join a community, a family. Um, Everyone's just so supportive and encouraging, and it's just been fantastic. And one of the key things I learned and got out of this program was I realized that our media is so full of different people's opinions and voices, but that doesn't mean that everyone's voice is heard. And one of the things I noticed is that there are so many people in our community of British Indians, British people in general, who just aren't heard. So I remember speaking to grandmas and grandpas, uncles and aunts, kids, even as some of my Tattva projects. And these are people who have something to say, but no one seems to be listening. And that I think is really important, that we start listening and encouraging new voices, diverse voices, to participate in the conversation. And I think that's what really inspired today, is for people who want to express their opinions and ideas more succinctly and rationally and critically, so to create more robust arguments, but also people who have thoughts and emotions and feelings, which is all of us, but don't normally write that, who will normally sit quietly. This is hopefully going to show you how to restructure those ideas so you can give them voice and you can be heard, and we can ask other people the right questions, so we can have a much fairer, more productive conversation. So debates and discussions tend to come up throughout our lives. So normally when you think about critical writing or writing an opinion piece, you'll think about the middle or back sections of a newspaper, so the comment sections, and you'll have famous opinion writers who are journalists who write their opinions. But actually we have discussions and debates all the time, at work. It can be about best practices, the best type of coffee, at home with family and friends. Again, you can have like big moral questions about what's the right thing to do, or you can have really small, specific domestic issues like how to cook something. And again, on social media, we're just bombarded with a lot of different ideas and opinions about the news, current affairs, public figures, and often I think we can feel things that we can't really express. So things like happiness, anger, frustration. So we're about to get started with our first activity based on that. So get your notepad and pens ready, and if you're just joining, settle down. So our first activity, we'll try and put various different feelings into a sort of structured, productive way of expressing them. Before we get started, there's just a few things we all need to agree on. So obviously we're going to be sharing a lot of ideas and opinions today. So this is going to be a safe space. So if you've got various opinions or ideas, everyone should respect them. So let's respect each other, and we won't judge anyone else for their opinions or hold their opinions against them. And probably we won't even assume that if someone says something, they actually think that, because we'll be trying to take on different voices, put on different hats, think from different perspectives. And for the next hour, there aren't any right or wrong answers. There aren't any right or wrong opinions. What we'll be focusing on are stronger and weaker arguments. So what matters is not what you think, but why you think it. So we'll be trying to strengthen those arguments. Okay, so our first activity. A lot of our feelings aren't productive. So they can be things like, I feel like this, or this makes me happy. But when we write an opinion statement, we need to restructure that into something productive that can actually help change or improve the world. We need to put together an argument that tells people what to do. So the first step is to restructure our thoughts as should statements. So I'm going to give you some thoughts and opinions that some people have, and I'd like you to rephrase them as actions that people should do. So you'll write down, someone should do an action. And that someone can be a person, a group of people, the whole world, a company, the government, anything that can make a decision, do an action. And remember, again, you don't have to agree with them, so we'll put our own opinions aside, but we'll restructure these thoughts as should statements. So I want you to write that down. If you're on Facebook, you can comment them in the chat function as well below this video so that we can all see what everyone else has got. So I'll give you an example. I feel that hunting wild animals is really cruel. So that's a feeling, but I can turn that into a should statement. So the should statement would be, people should not hunt wild animals. So write these down. It might feel a little bit easy, but it's like a very important first step. So your first prompt, your first feeling is, people on this road are driving too fast. People on this road are driving too fast. I'll give you about 30 seconds to turn that into a should statement. Okay, next. Yeah, we've got a couple of good ones there. People should not drive fast on this road. Next prompt, brushing your teeth is very important. Okay, I'll just wait for a few more people to comment on the Facebook comments function. Okay, next prompt. Someone who murders someone else doesn't deserve to live. So again, you're turning those into should statements. What should someone do? And if you've got an idea, please comment it on the Facebook's comments function so that we can all see and it can give other people some ideas. Next, traveling the world is a great experience for young people. Okay, and your next prompt, grandparents have a lot to teach their grandchildren. Okay, so with a lot of these, seeing in your comments and the messages I'm getting and stuff, there are so many different should statements that a lot of you have come up with. So, for example, with the traveling one, um, there are, I think one person said young people should make traveling part of their world experience. So the someone there is young people. And someone else said universities should give opportunities for young people to travel alongside studies. So the person there, the someone, is universities. This. I kind of expected this, but this is so what we can see are there are so many different should statements for just one one feeling or one emotion. So for the next few prompts, I want you to think about whether you can find several different should statements, and then try and think about what the best should statement is, the most productive. What's the best thing for people to do? So these will also be a bit harder, give you a little bit more time. So first prompt, there are too many students in this class. Okay, so we've got a few ideas here. Schools should reduce class sizes. So the someone there is schools. There are a few other someones, a few other should statements we can use. So you could have the government should provide more funding to schools. There's Shivani's got another one. Parents should choose schools with smaller class sizes. Okay, great. And next, your next prompt. Libraries are very important for local communities. So again, this is a feeling or a thought that someone might have, and we're turning them into a structure where you've got someone should do something. Okay, your next prompt. The police treat non-white people unfairly. Okay, next up. Someone's looks and their age don't really matter. Okay, great. And next, plastic bottles are bad for the environment. Pavan's going rogue in the comments. That Pavan Taylor. Okay. So you should now have on your piece of paper a whole list of should statements. So things like schools should have smaller class sizes, the government should do something. And I want you to look through that list again and choose an opinion, a should statement that you really agree with or you feel very strongly about. If there's none that really sticks out to you, you could choose another opinion that you might hold, maybe something about the NHS or the environment or the government. But make sure you turn that into a should statement again. So someone should do something. With this statement that you've chosen, I'm going to give you some time to think about the end goal. So if that action, if that should statement actually happened, if that someone did the thing that you're saying they should do, how would the world be different? So really think about the ultimate goal, not the immediate result. So if it was something about the police, you might say that we would live in a more just and fairer society, or racial inequalities might be flattened, might be eliminated. So you're kind of thinking about a very ideal world. So with my hunting example, my should statement was the government should ban hunting. And the end goal is that our country would be full of wild animals, which everyone can enjoy and appreciate, and they will bring beauty. We can learn from them and they can inspire us. So it's a very idyllic end goal that we want to work towards. So I'll give you a few minutes to envision that end goal and describe it, write it down. So if you've just joined, we've just written our should statements. So turning an opinion or a feeling into something that someone should do. Then we are writing out the end goal. So what's the sort of ideal world that we're going to be working towards if the person or the people actually did what we say they should do. I'll give you a couple more minutes. And if you're struggling with sentences, you can just write one word that can describe your ideal world. So something like fair or happy or beautiful. So don't worry too much about how you're phrasing it. Okay, we're going to move on to the next activity now. So if you haven't finished, that's fine. We'll go back to this in a bit. Now we're going to work on a new activity, which is, why do you say that? So this work and, writing arguments in general is based on logic and critical thinking. And these are actual academic disciplines, university courses on them, books on them. And there's a lot of theory, a lot of rules behind them. You might have heard of things like the straw man fallacy. So there's a lot to learn if you want to learn it. But today, we're just going to go down to the real basics of critical thinking and critical writing. And essentially, that is just no more than learning how to spot a bad argument and then not do it in your own writing. So we're just going to look at some bad arguments. And what I want you to do is try and spot the holes in them so that when you're writing your own thing, you know what is going to be a bad argument and what is going to strengthen your argument. So I'm going to read out some really bad arguments, and I want you to try and think of questions that you would ask if someone was actually saying this to you. So don't focus on opinions, whether you agree or disagree. That really doesn't mean that the argument is stronger or weaker, but to spot the weaknesses in these arguments, we're going to try and find questions like, who said that? Where did you get this information from? What if this were not the case? What if something else happened? Again, be as broad or as specific as you like, and try and think of as many questions as you like, and comment them on the chat function on Facebook again. So, first bad argument. So, a teacher from Yorkshire said that in the past year, her colleagues have been bitten, punched, kicked, spat on, head-butted, and verbally abused. Many teachers are complaining of stress, turning to drink, or simply leaving the profession. A young hooligan is more likely to be rewarded with an adventure course than a spell behind bars. The same enfeebling mindset has infected the police, the probation service, and social work, where the emphasis is entirely on young people's so-called rights, but never their duties. So we'll just post that on the chat function as well, so you can see the full text. And yeah, comment with the questions this raises. So some of the questions I can think of are, how do you know that teachers are turning to drink? How many teachers are leaving the profession? Why is Sue an authority to speak of this? I'll just give you a couple more minutes to write down some questions, and then we'll on to the next prompt. Okay, we've got a few questions coming in. I'm going to move on to the next. So again, you're going to look for questions that this passage raises. It's not a good argument, but instead of just disagreeing with it, try and think of what you would ask someone if they said this to you. Dr. Mike Dilks and Alexander Adams have written a book called Stop Snoring the Easy Way. Dr. Dilks told a newspaper that snoring can be improved in just 5 minutes a day. Snoring can be caused by loose throat muscles, so exercising these muscles. US studies, American studies, this may be enough to reduce the volume of snoring 60%. So again, think of questions. They can be really easy questions, like one of them that jumped out to me, what newspaper? Yeah, some really great questions. People have pointed out, like, there's no precision in some of these statistics. So what are their studies? What's their source of information? What's their authenticity? What kind of a doctor is Dr. Mike Dilks? And why is he qualified to do this? Other things like how long was the study? How many participants? So again, we'll see be really precise. If we use numbers, we've got where we got those numbers from and why they represent the current situation, and why we can use those to understand people who weren't part of the study. So if you just chose a small sample for your study, why do we apply that to everyone else? Okay. The last bad argument. More than 4,000 Black people are murdered by other Black people each year. The number of Black men killed by American police is about 100 each year. And yet, virtually no Black people are shot by police in the UK, mostly because police don't have guns. Think about the questions that raises. There are a lot of statistics, but there aren't any sources, so we don't know where they got those statistics from. The other thing noticed about this is it doesn't tell us what we should do. So does that mean we should people give police guns? We shouldn't object when police kill black people, black men? Why does this matter? Why does the first sentence say black people and then the second sentence say black men? So again, comment your questions below. I'll see if I can put some of mine. I think I can put mine up. Okay, and finally, so what we've learned from that is from some of your questions, it's really clear that you guys are thinking things like where are these statistics from? What does that mean? What are the implications of that? These are all really great questions, and when we write our own work, we need to keep those in mind and make sure that everything we say is really clear and precise, and the things that we say, it's really obvious what that means, what the broader implications are. I think we're ready now to actually get writing, and actually what you've already done a big chunk of your argumentative piece that we'll be producing today. So let's go to the opinion you chose earlier. So when I asked you to choose a statement and describe what the world would look like if that happened. So you're going to start a new page and write that should statement that you chose at the top of the page. So mine is the government should ban hunting wild animals. So that's your argument, your thesis statement, and I think it should also be your title, so it's really clear what you're arguing for. And people know they're going to read that. They're going to read your article to learn why the government should ban fox hunting or hunting wild animals. So once you've written your should statement, your first paragraph, it's just going to be expand on your should statement. So there might be some words in that paragraph that are unclear and you need to define them. So in my example of the government, I'm going to say the British government. I'm going to give some context, like say what the law is at present on hunting wild animals. So the paragraph only needs to be a couple of lines. And then we're going to move on to the next bit. Okay, we'll move on, but you can come back to that later if you've got more stuff you want to write, definitions, the current law, current context. So now you're going to look at your description of what the world would look like if that should statement actually happened. So we did this about 20 minutes ago, and you should have some words, some sentences about what the ideal ultimate world would look like if this should statement actually happened. So for me, that would be that the country is full of beautiful wild animals, can all enjoy for future generations, and they're healthy and happy animals. You're going to write that paragraph. If you've got some words, you can put them into sentences either now or when you come back to this. You're going to write a paragraph at the bottom of your page. You should have some space in the middle. So what we're doing is we're actually putting together your argument, and this can be an article that could go in a newspaper or something you send to your friends and family, a way you respond to someone else who said something you disagree with. And it's going to be 3 paragraphs, and we've already written 2 of them, the first and the third. We've said what you are arguing for and what the result would be if you've argued for that. And in a minute, another minute, and then we'll go on to what we do for the second paragraph. Okay. And now, this is the hardest part, but I'm going to let you take it away and work on it in your own time. I want you to think about why the statement at the top of your page leads to the better world you've just described. So that involves doing some research, finding some facts to back up the argument, statistics, anecdotes, surveys, scientific facts. So this could be some Googling. It can be asking people around you who have evidence. So for me, with my example of not hunting wild animals, I did some research and I found that I found relevant scientific facts, like when wild animals like deer are hunted, their populations spread out, and that means that they can't reproduce. So deer will die out and they might become extinct in the country if we don't stop hunting them. Also found out that hunting communities focus on areas where deer are very thickly populated, and those deer are really important for animals, so they will consume foods, and then their waste products are really important for other smaller wildlife, bugs, plants, and fertilize the soil. And that's really important for keeping our environment healthy, beautiful, and lush. So if we wipe out all the deer, there are going to be some serious consequences for the environment. So again, those are just connections between my should statement and the ideal world that we're aiming towards. For you, I'm going to send you off in a minute, and you're going to find statistics, anecdotes, surveys, scientific facts. It can be quite short. The most persuasive arguments are very short and straightforward. And you can use these, you can submit them to newspapers, publish them, but also you can say them in arguments and discussions on social media, in person, at work, at home. These are things that will help us communicate more effectively and give us stronger arguments. So you can really use these throughout our daily lives. Whether it's a big moral question or a very specific thing that we should be doing, like how the best way to cook something. So I'm about to wrap up and leave you to it. But when finished, we would love to see what you've written. So what you can do is, if you're not on Facebook, you can email us. So it's hello@tattva.org.uk. We'd love to see what you've come up with. Please email us. Alternatively, you can post on this Facebook page so that everyone can see what you came up with, what you managed this session. And again, you can apply this to a lot of different things. If you use this to argue other opinions that you have, that's great too. We'd really love to see what you've written. What we've done with other workshops is we're producing a publication of fiction stories that came up with the creativity and creative writing workshops we do on Sundays. So there are lots of ways you can use that. The Sunday sessions are still going on as well. So this is Saturday morning. And Tattva's got a lot of other things going on. So workshops, creative writing workshops. We do video casts. Our last video cast was on teaching in crisis and how we should be homeschooling our children, what it's like to homeschool our children, whether you do that permanently or just because of the lockdown. So there's lots of content up here, and we're really building a community. We're all discussing, sharing our thoughts and experiences. So please join in. We really want to hear your voice. There's lots to see, lots to do. So make sure you liked this page if you haven't already, so you can keep up with everything we've got going on. I hope you've got started on your own writing piece. Or actually are really close to being done. It's that simple. I hope you feel more confident in writing or voicing your opinion, especially if you're someone who doesn't normally feel like they can voice their opinion, or if you're someone who feels like they can't express their opinion and ideas in a really rational, persuasive way. Okay, so let us know how you've done. Keep in touch, and have a great day. That's it from me.